In County Clare, Ireland, the cliffs of Moher stand tall, like a giant wall against the wild Atlantic Ocean. These cliffs, stretching 8 kilometers long and reaching 214 meters high, are made of dark rock and layered stone. The waves crash against them, and the wind howls, making the cliffs feel alive, almost like they're fighting the sea. On clear days, you can see the far-off Aran Islands, but when it's stormy, the cliffs seem to whisper secrets to anyone who gets too close. Eamon O'Brien was one of those people. He was a fisherman from the nearby village of Doolin. At 42, his hands were rough from years of pulling nets and lobster pots from the sea. His green eyes reminded people of seaweed caught in a storm. 5 years ago, his wife, Siobhan, died when a storm swept her off their boat. The villagers whispered that Eamon was cursed, that the cliffs had taken Siobhan's spirit and now wanted his. He laughed it off while drinking at Gus O'Connor's pub, but deep down, he felt the cliffs calling him, like Siobhan was asking him to join her. One rainy evening, on the night before Beltane, Eamon drank too much whiskey, trying to quiet the pain in his heart. In his dreams, Siobhan's voice wasn't the sweet one he loved. It was desperate, saying, "Come to me, Eamon, the waves are warm." Unable to resist, he left the pub and walked toward the cliffs. The path was dark and slippery, the wind screaming like a ghost. But he kept going, drawn by something he couldn't explain. He reached Hag's Head, the southern end of the cliffs, where a natural rock arch stood like a gate to the sea. Stories said a hag named Moll once stood there, luring sailors to their deaths. Eamon stopped and looked down at the churning ocean, the waves crashing below. Nearby was O'Brien's Tower, a crumbling old watchpost from the 1800s, named after his family, or so the stories claimed. He thought of his grandfather, who jumped from these cliffs during the Great Famine, chasing tales of fairy gold at the bottom. Was it madness or escape? Eamon wasn't sure. He walked north along a narrow path where the grass was short from the wind's constant cutting. He reached Brisk Point, the highest part of the cliffs, where the drop was steep and deadly. His boots slipped, and his heart raced as he nearly fell. The sea roared below, and in its sound he thought he heard Siobhan.